Alright, welcome back. Today we'll look into some previous year questions from AP Biology examination. So let's look at number one. Which of the following is true of both mitochondria and chloroplast? Before solving all this thing, I want you to know that you should try the elimination method. The elimination method is actually you try to eliminate the wrong answers first to find the right one at the end. So we'll do that over here. So we will go through the wrong ones and then come back to the right one. So the first option is they are found in cells of eukaryotic autotrophs and heterotrophs. When you think of autotrophs are the organisms which are producing their own food. This includes example of plants where they are producing their own food. Now when they mean they, understand here in the option they mean both mitochondria and chloroplast should be present in this type of organism together. So when you think about autotrophs, the great example is plants. They are having mitochondria plus chloroplast together in order to make food. Chloroplast is therefore absorbing the light to make the food. But when you think of heterotrophs, these are animals and they lack chloroplast. They don't make their own food. They depend on like plants to actually consume food. They would hunt, they would go and eat plants. So they are not producing any kind of food, so they are not having chloroplast. So this option is not correct. Let's go to the second one. They include stack of membrane that absorb light. Now when you look at the chloroplast, the diagram of chloroplast, this is having a stack of thylakoid which are together called as grana. Now when you think of thylakoid, think of it like coins which are stacked together, and these particular coin, one single coin is known as the thylakoid. So one thylakoid, second thylakoid, and the third thylakoid, these are all stacked together which are known as grana. So that is true in the concept of plants. They are having stack of membrane together, they are called grana, and but that is not true in terms of mitochondria. Mitochondria is not having any kind of stacking of membrane to absorb light, and mitochondria does not even absorb light. That is the job of a chloroplast. And when you look at mitochondria, it is trying to produce ATP. Now in order to produce ATP and to make energy, it is actually breaking down glucose and trying to make energy. Glucose is nothing but sugar, so it's going to break down the sugar, try to make energy, that is ATP. Now let's move on to the next one. They produce sugar, option number D, they produce sugar using energy harvest in cytoplasm. Now when you think of chloroplast, they make food, they produce sugar, and ATP is produced when there is breaking down of sugar, which is done by mitochondria. So mitochondria doesn't produce sugar, it breaks it down, whereas chloroplast or the plants make sugar. So this option is not true for both mitochondria and chloroplast. Option number 3, they break down sugar to produce ATP. That is only true for mitochondria. That is, chloroplast is not breaking any sugar down. Only mitochondria is doing that. Now, the only option that is left here is obviously option number C. They include compartments where hydrogen ions are concentrated. Now, let's understand why this particular answer is correct. Alright, so let's understand why the option number C was the correct option. So this is a picture of an organelle, which is mitochondria. It is having an outer membrane plus an inner membrane. Now between the two spaces of outer membrane and inner membrane, there is a space called intermembrane space. Intermembrane space, yeah. All right, so it is double membraned with outer membrane and inner membrane. And now inside of the inner membrane, you will have matrix, the one that I'm shading here. This is the matrix, which is negatively charged. Always remember that it is negatively charged. Now, when you think of it, this organelle needs to produce energy. Now what it's going to do, it is going to pump out hydrogen ions from the matrix into the intermembrane space. So there will be a lot of hydrogen ion coming from the matrix to the intermembrane space, and during this thing there will be a lot of accumulation of hydrogen ions. So this is having a compartment, a particular compartment. Here the compartment is intermembrane space where a lot of hydrogen ions is building up. Now, when it's building up, it's going to create a gradient. Now, what do you mean by gradient? Gradient is something that if there is a high concentration of something towards one side and there's low concentration towards the other side, it creates a gradient. So that something can flow from high gradient to a low gradient. So here at the intermembrane space, there will be a lot of concentration of hydrogen ions. So it's going to make a high gradient towards one side, and the other side it's going to have very low gradient. Now what is going to happen during this, the hydrogen ion is charged with a positive charge. Now positive will be attracted toward the negative charge, which is the matrix. Now the hydrogen ion needs to be pumped back into the matrix. Now when it's going to do, how it's going to do that, it's going to do that with a amazing pump, which is going to be present on the inner membrane itself. So it's going to be present somewhere here, maybe somewhere here. Yeah, it can be, I am just drawing it anywhere, but there is a pump that is present, which is known as ATP synthase. ATP synthase, sorry, it's synthase. ATP synthase is, that means it's going to synthesize something. So ATP synthase is going to take that hydrogen ion and is going to pump it back into the matrix. Now, when it's doing that, when it's pumping it out inside of it, it is producing ATP, and that is true for mitochondria. So the question, when you go back, they include a compartment. It's saying, does they include a compartment? So yes, mitochondria includes a compartment where it is storing a lot of hydrogen ion. All right, so what about chloroplast? This is true for chloroplast. Now, when you think of chloroplast, the organelle, when you look at the diagram, it is having a stack of thylakoids. Together, they are called as grana. So think of it like coins that are stacked upon one another. One coin will be known as thylakoid, and the whole stack will be known as grana. So let me just make the thylakoid, which is just one coin. Think of it like one coin. So this is thylakoid. So this is the thylakoid membrane, and on top of the thylakoid membrane, there are a bunch of stuff, which is like there is photosystem 2, there is other molecules, and there is photosystem 1. So let me draw that for you. So this will be photosystem 2. There will be a bunch of other molecules, and there will be photosystem 1. Now what is happening, there is a particular compartment known as lumen. Lumen is nothing but just the fluid that is inside of thylakoid. So this lumen is a compartment where there will be a lot of hydrogen ions. So now when you look at the option number C, it's saying, does chloroplast include a compartment where it's having a lot of hydrogen ion concentration? Yes, it does. That is the lumen. So over here it's going to have a lot of high amount of hydrogen concentration. When it's having a lot of high amount of hydrogen concentration, a gradient will be created. And when the gradient will be created, it needs to go from high concentration to low concentration. Now what will happen here, you have F0 and F1 particles from where the hydrogen ion will be pumped out of the thylakoid membrane or the thylakoid lumen. When it will be doing that, it's going to produce ATP and it's going to do that when NADH will be combined with organic phosphorus, and then it's going to produce ATP. So when you think back, the question says, does both mitochondria and chloroplast together, do they both have hydrogen ions in a particular compartment where they're concentrated? Yes, chloroplast is having lumen when there is a lot of hydrogen concentration, and mitochondria is having the intermembrane space, which is a compartment where hydrogen ions are concentrated. I hope you understand that, and yeah, thank you.